Hello everyone, in our previous video we discussed about the summary of the catabolism of glucose. Today we will discuss about the topic glycolysis, which is the breakdown of glucose into pyruvate to produce ATP energy. Glycolysis. What is glycolysis? It is the first stage of extraction of energy, that is the ATP energy. It is also known as EMP pathway, Marhof-Parnas pathway, named after the scientists. The splitting of glucose is called glycolysis. The splitting of glucose occurs into pyruvate, and it occurs in the cytosol of microorganisms. It is a metabolic pathway that converts glucose, which is of 6 carbon, into 2 pyruvates, which is of 3 carbon. 8 intermediates are formed while the process of glycolysis. Here we can see the whole summary impact of glycolysis. From the starting, we can see here we can see glucose. The structure of glucose is somewhat this type. Here we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon in this glucose. In the first step, what occurs? The glucose, which is of 6 carbon, is converted into glucose 6-phosphate with the help of some kind of enzyme, that is kinase enzyme. Here 1 ATP is utilized into and gives rise to 1 ATP, and the 1 phosphorus released from the conversion of ATP into ATP is added to the first carbon of the glucose, and the glucose 6-phosphate product is formed. From glucose 6-phosphate product, fructose 6-phosphate forms with the help of the enzyme called isomerase. From the fructose 6-phosphate, this is the third step. From the fructose 6-phosphate, utilizing 1 molecule of ATP energy, 1 ATP molecule is released, and 1 phosphate molecule is released here with ATP, which adds to the last carbon of the fructose 6-phosphate and gives rise to the product, that is fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Now it further undergoes dissociation reaction, in which 3 carbon plus phosphorus and 3 carbon plus phosphorus molecules form, which is named as hydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. From hydroxyacetone phosphate, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is formed, and from glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate the further reaction occurs. Now here we can see there are 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecules, one from the breakdown of fructose 1-phosphate and one from the dihydroxyacetone phosphate. The next reaction occurs from here. Now the 2 molecules separately undergoes some chemical reaction. The glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate reacts with releases out its phosphate and gives rise to 2 hydrogen molecule and 2 electrons, which add on to NAD plus and give rise to NADH. In the same way, it happens with the other molecule of the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and 1,3-bisphosphate glycerate is formed as a product. Now the 1,3-bisphosphate glycerate reacts with 1 ATP molecule and gives rise to 1 ATP molecule. Here we can see that 2 molecules separately going through this reaction and giving rise to 3-phosphoglycerate separately. Not this 3-phosphoglycerate is converted to 2-phosphoglycerate. that is the phosphorus at the third carbon is transferred to the second carbon. As we can see, now this 2-phosphoglycerate is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate. This phosphoenol pyruvate is formed by the release of one H2O molecule from 2-phosphoglycerate. Now this phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into pyruvate, the product of the glycolysis, with the release of one ATP molecule from phosphoenol pyruvate. Here, two pyruvate molecules are formed separately. First part of glycolysis, as we can see, is endergonic, that is the reaction 1 and 3 utilized ATP energy, that is they require energy to form the product. While the second part, that is the reaction 7 and the 10th, they are exergonic, that is energy ATP is released. The ATP molecule were the result of the transfer of a phosphate from a substrate to ADP. We say that ATP molecule were the results of substrate level phosphorylation. The net gain from glycolysis is 2 molecules of ATP. And in reaction 6, we have seen that the enzymatic reactions releases 2 high energy electrons and 2 protons, which are picked up by the coenzyme NADH+, reducing each to NADH, that is the additional source to generate ATP. Thank you. That's all about my today's topic.